Alrighty, set that to live chat, and here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Couch Partying Status Report. And today, we're gonna go over pretty much everything that went on in this last week. So where are we at? So, right now, currently... Okay, so as of the VFX, we are a lot farther along. I re-rendered Tyranitar. I re-rendered Pokeball and added some animation. So before I felt like the animation was stiff, he didn't look like he was sleeping, so I redid some of it. Or I shouldn't say I redid. I went and added more. I added more. I ran it. The next part was the Pokeball that we. I went ahead and added some, and then. I'm in the middle of comping those back in. Rotoscoping still isn't done. Going back and rewatching, I've taken last week an hour when I came home from work to rotoscoping, and then the second hour to do some other kind of effect. So the rest of the shots have been green screened. So I've erased the background as I would, and I'm currently I think only shots have not been green screen. That is the Hypno shot, I believe Totodile, and the finale. Mainly because they all require elements that are a little bit more nuanced. With Totodile, it's not just, oh, here's the background, something's happening behind me. It's, no, I'm pulling a toy with it, so I have to rotoscope the toy a little bit, as well as add animation to the Totodile. But I'm gonna get the animation first, because Totodile's covering it up. Then there's that. I will say the rendering takes forever. So the last film that I did, the reason that it came out fast as it did, even then, it's like we shot it in December. I don't think it was fully finished until the following March. A lot of it was due to procrastination, but I will admit the rendering was a lot faster. But I was using the Eevee cycling render in Blender. Now I'm using, I believe, Cycles. Cycles is the other option. Sorry, I'm tired. I worked my second job last. So the next so the bottleneck I'm currently dealing with is that when I do render, especially these longer shots, it takes forever. So like I went and started the render at about like 11 o'clock right before I went to bed. Like, all right, I'm done for the night. I say goodbye to everybody on the call. I start the render, I go to bed. Well, I wake up at, let's say I have work at 8 in the morning. I'm up by 6:30 a.m. It's still rendering. I work 8 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon, and it's still rendering. Now, part of it is I understand that rendering is it's a whole skill on its own as well. Like, that's the crazy part about all of this. I'm doing what would normally be strewn about so many different departments. While I was job hunting for visual effects positions, one of the places I applied to was a render farm. So it was, I would do IT work on the computer. I would update the render farm. And that's something that I don't know how to do, but I'm definitely willing to learn, and especially like that part of this, that's a very crucial step. You have to render these elements to give to your compositors to blend all the elements together. So the problem I'm having is that, oh, okay, well, now I have to wait for the render to finish before I can continue any more film work, because while that's rendering, I can't really do any other things on my computer. So the solution is then, well, go get a second computer or do a different task that's not computer related. So that's kind of where we're going to get into the multitasking and the YouTube management side. Is that okay? Well, I have 3 channels. We have 5 projects in a phase. We just got done with the first one, Mando. Or we got done with it back in like May, and then dived into the Pokemon one. And so with this, the problem comes to the main struggle is that YouTube wants you to upload regularly, and I'm being consistent working on the film, no problem, but it's not getting those YouTube numbers. And the reason that I care about that is because I am getting burnt out for a 3rd time, and I see the crash out coming, and I'm like, okay, what do I do? So, as the this is kind of where it gets into the whole juggling real life, juggling the dream, and all of that stuff. Not getting happy about it. Basically, what I'm having the struggle with is that I have a lot of things I have to pay off. I have to pay off for credit, a van, those things. Those are things that, like, okay, I have to pay those off. Those are the responsibility side. The other part is because the amount that those cost on top of the bills, the other things I have to pay for, like car insurance, health insurance, phone, those things, those eat out a lot. And then on top of that, it was like, and for the most part, it's fine if I was working 40 hours. And so the next part of the struggle is that we are going to the holidays, so I know I'll have a good, hopefully a good 5 months of hours, depending on how stressful my work environment is, and that's the part that scares me most. Last year, with the second job, I was working, I think, 50-hour work weeks because I was getting almost 40 hours at my day job, and then my weekend job, I would get a lot of the times Friday and Saturday weekends. So I'd be working Friday. So every weekend turned into, all right, cool, Luke, you're going to go into work early in the morning. You're off by 4 at the latest on Friday. Take a nap. You're going to go work the bar from 9 p.m. to as late as 2:40 a.m. I know there have been a couple nights where that's been the latest I get out. And then you have to be back at work by 8 or 6, depending on how you get scheduled at the day job. And then you take another nap, and then at 9 p.m., you're right back at the bar. And so it's just the whole... I make a lot of money in that time. I can pay a lot of things off of that time, but it's like, at that point, I have, like, zero energy to work on the dream. And so that's kind of where my brain is right now, is that, okay, well, I'm not having a good time at my day job. I love my weekend job. And I'd like to be able to do this for the... And as I get closer to 2027, the urge of the, hey, you graduated high school in 2017. 27 will be 10. Where have you gone in the 10 years? 10 years is a lot of time. So it's hard because I have people telling me, like, oh, hey, well, you're still so young and da-da-da. It's like, okay, but by the time I get to 2027, I feel like I should have been able to hit certain milestones that I haven't gotten to yet. And right now, my question is, how much is it me and how much is it the things pushing against me? Where's that line? Is it my fault or is it outside factors' fault? And how do I figure out where that is? So, dealing with that on a mental level. But, so I'm going to go back and kind of look at what my tasks are and see what I can do. I still have my old laptop from high school. I still have that. It works to an extent. It's kind of hard because it's like right now it's like, okay, well, what I could do, I get home, I want to spend 2 hours working on film. Okay, cool. Well, if it's still rendering and I only have the one computer, well, I can't really do anything past that. Whereas if I had a second computer, okay, cool. Now, what can I do with that computer? The next current project is I also don't have a server set up, so it's not like I can have access to files on this computer and then access those exact same files on a second computer. Not possible right now. So that second computer would be like, okay, here's a separate project on this computer. And so this computer will be for these projects. This one will be for film, so on and so forth. And the next project in line is the perfect Pokemon game essay. So what I could do is start putting penny pinching, put money away. I think what I should probably do is get rid of my online subscription stuff, as much as I hate the sound of that, but life is too expensive. So I think maybe I do need that. I'll start with one subscription a check, see what that difference is, and then because I know Star Wars Vision Season 3 comes out, so Disney Plus might be the last subscription I cancel, but I feel like I need to go back to like some analog ways. Like I was listening to a CD in my car earlier, and I'm like, hey, you know what? I need to be listening to CDs more. I need to be buying an album, swapping CDs out. It's not like I don't have the technology to burn a disc, especially with my laptop. My laptop has a disc drive in it, so and I'm pretty sure I have a tower of blank CDs somewhere. So it's like if I want to listen to music that I can't necessarily get, but I own digitally, cool, I'll just burn it on a CD and call it a day. So, but as of right now, what I at least can do is like scripts and writing out the tasks, okay, everything that needs to get done. If it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, well, I did all the paperwork essentially on this project. Okay, cool. Well, how about I go to the next one and start doing the paperwork on that? So storyboards, script writing, that kind of stuff. The other part of it is that even with the laptop that I have now, I have to go look at FX Home's options. So when I do all of my stuff in the FX Home ecosystem, and the reason that I did that was because they used to, and I believe that they changed it the last time I looked, is you would buy the product outright. You would have 1 year's worth of updates, but then after that year's up, you'd have to buy the product again to get the next updates. And so, but if you choose not to, you could still use it to create videos. You still have the license to use it. You just can't use it after those updates. And with FX Home, it's more of like, oh, these are usually features. So I had bought my original copy for like $300. I waited till the Cyber Monday deal, and I did not have to buy it again, I think, until about 2019, 2020, because they added a feature where you could color code your footage. And I was like, I need that. That is very handy, because then, and my favorite thing to do with it is, especially when we get to the subtitles stage on the gaming videos, is I'm like, okay, well, subtitles take a lot out of me. I don't want to waste my time doing all of this all the time and do it all in one sitting. It drives me nuts. So what I do is that I can highlight it in chunks into 5 different colors and go, all right, Monday it's this section, Tuesday is this section, Wednesday is this section. And then by the time I get to the end of the week, okay, boom, it's done. I do one more pass over on Saturday to just watch it as a whole, see if there's anything I missed, spelling errors, stuff like that, and then package it up, get it ready to upload for Sunday. No problems there. But when I bought it, it was 3 licenses and a copy, I believe it was 2 licenses of Emerge, which is kind of like their version of Photoshop. So my movie posters that I make and stuff there. Now, I gave 1 hit film license to my friend Mia because she was helping me edit videos at the time. as well as Sky. So they both had a license to hit film because they were helping me out so much. And part of that was, the beauty of that was that, let's say if Mia was editing a footage, I sent her gameplay. She's like, hey, I got too many things on my plate. I started it, but I didn't finish it. Okay, cool. Send me your project file. Send me any elements that you used outside the footage. So music, images, whatever you used. And then I'll download that, and then I can pick up where you left off. Same thing with Skype. And I also gave her my second license of Emerge because she has her own YouTube channel, book reviews and stuff like that. So the idea was, okay, you can, because you've been helping me out, let me pay for this thing. I'll give you this program so that way you have a better program to make thumbnails with. So I showed her some tips and tricks, showed her how to use it, took off and used it, no problem. So with my laptop, even though I could probably do some basic editing and some VFX on it, so I could probably do a lot of the gaming stuff. It is old. I need to upgrade it. One of the things I need to do is take it apart and clean it out. I don't really have a spot to do that for the moment. So I'll need to make a temporary spot and fix that. But I can't do like the film stuff on it. But maybe if I can fix it up a little bit, I could at least do like, oh, okay, well, we're going to have I can at least edit the shorts, right? I can edit the gaming videos because they're not anything crazy like films are. So I can at least maybe edit something. I don't know. I think but if I were to do that, I'd have to boot one of them off that license. And I don't want to do that. And so I need to go to FX Home and see, like, okay, well, what are some of the packages? Because we do make $40 a month, but if they've gone to a subscription-based service, well, it's like, damn, there goes our entire budget. So any money we want to put away for a green screen, any money we want to put toward a costume, gone instantly just to do the editing. So, and I know there's free programs like DaVinci Resolve and Blender, but I don't use DaVinci very often, and so I'm not trained on it. I do, so question is, do I jump ship and switch over to DaVinci? And then when it comes to compositing, Blender does have a compositing tab, and it's an all-in-one platform. But I've been using HitFilm since like 2014. So how do I jump that ship? That's the hard part. I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that just yet. I can think of a number of videos where I could probably do that. But I do like the layer-based compositing. I do need to learn node-based compositing, which is why I got Blender in the first place and why I've been using it more often. So that's kind of the thing is that, okay, I want to do that, but I also want to expand my team as the YouTube channel goes on. So what programs do I get to? I'm like, current bitrate is lower than the recommended bitrate of this. Okay, well, I've never changed my bitrate started, but I guess I will today. The Scooby-Doo, where are you? So the question is just like, how do I go about programs and expanding the team? Because I would like to be able to take projects and swap between everybody and do all of that and learn that infrastructure. So that's something I need to sit down and really kind of look into and go, okay, well, what do we do? And then from there, I can juggle things. Like if I get a second computer, I could at least maybe if I go get a beefier computer than this one, that would be my new filmmaking computer, and I would set that somewhere else and go, okay, I'll do all my VFX on this one. And then the computer out here would be the gaming and BTS one, where it's like, okay, well, while the film is rendering this shot or rendering this element, I can then go work on a different project at the same time. Is essentially where I would like to go. There's a question of like, okay, well, how much personal time is that going to take me? Because it's like at the end of the day, I want to put at least 2 hours of work into the channels, and it is really hard when the computer's at a standstill. Like, hey, I'm rendering this image. You're just going to have to wait. And I was just like, God darn it. How do we go about that? So I'm gonna take the next week trying to figure that out and making content and uploading more content, because clearly it is just hard enough. I just feel like I'm at a standstill. It's like on YouTube rewards consistency or consistent uploads. So I am working consistently, but my uploads are not consistent, which is part of the reason why we have this status report. The weekly thing that comes out, same day every time. You know what's coming, and at least now you guys can participate and ask questions because it's live. So that was the whole thing. So next half of that was I keep saying like next half of that. I don't have this all numbered or scripted. Anything like that. This is just me talking to a camera. But the goals this coming week is more videos, still working on the film as much as I can. When I'm at a standstill, I'm going to start trying to plan out, okay, what's probably the best way, the most efficient way of doing this? Because it's a whole thing. I think maybe trying to fix my laptop might be the better option, seeing how I already have it. But it's going to be, or I should say difficult, but tedious, time consuming, and juggling it, because like, man, those day jobs, you just don't know. I think that's my biggest problem is that there's no like realm of certainty at my day job. So it's like I could have an easy day or I could have a really frustrating day. Like if it weren't for the fact that I'm in debt right now and don't really have the money to survive over the next 6 months, because they certainly don't pay me enough to be able to put anything away. I haven't been able to put away anything since I got back from Japan. I'm actually kind of really upset about that. I would have quit on Saturday. I really wanted to. No way I didn't. And I know that this could probably get me in trouble, and if it falls into my boss's hands, I might get fired, but I'm at a point where I just don't care about the day jobs anymore. Don't care about society's standards anymore. Not even anymore. I don't think I ever did. I think, like, it's hard, because it's like, I have a dream. I have the thing that I want to pursue. I want to be a filmmaker, and I will be more than happy to put all of the work involved into that. However, there are certain opportunities that I have not gotten, and I've had every opportunity to screw up, and I have screwed up immensely. I never should have gone to IT school. 100%. Complete waste of my time and money, and I'm still feeling the effects when I got my certificate in 2021, and it's now 2025. And we're, over halfway 2025. I've had to move 3 times, just because of disagreements over dumb things. And it's like, all right, you know what? I haven't had a chance to build a base and build a foundation, and I'm not really, even though I'm working as hard as I can, the resources are just not showing up. So the reward for all the hard work is like diminishing, and it makes me not want to at least find work in society's like standards or safe areas, like whatever the norm is. And yeah, so it's been difficult. So it's like, and then on top of that, it's been with that mental health. I'm like, okay, I want to go do things that I want to do now. So a few weeks ago, there was a point where I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go do some things that I like to do for fun, because it's what I want to do, and I don't care that I may not have the money to do this right now. I'll just skip a couple meals and just go do the thing that I want to go do, because I'm tired of the job that I'm locked into, that I can't escape from because I have no other alternative to dictate what I do, because they don't want to give me the money that I deserve. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go do that. So I wanted to go get my GameCube repaired. In the line of the dream and going forward with these Pokemon projects, the after this film, I'm doing the perfect Pokemon game essay. I'm going to talk about what I like from the games, what my opinions are of gaming as a whole, and talk about what I want to see in a Pokemon game. But part of that is that I want to do research. I want a very educated opinion. So what I'm going to do is I have a list of video games I would like to play, and I'm going to live stream them all on the gaming channel. And I'm going to talk about the things that I like, the things that I don't like, and especially third-party games that are not Pokemon that I feel like Game Freak could take a page out of and learn from and utilize those mechanics, because I have to explain this to people. You can't copyright mechanics or rules, at least in the United States. Like, so that's, it's anywho, so I wanted to play the GBA games, and specifically Pokemon Leaf Green, because I need to beat the Elite Four, so that way I can get everything set up for a challenge I'd like to do later down the line called the Ribbon Master Challenge. But at the same time, I need to beat the league and get the National Pokedex to trade Pokemon through all the different stuff. And I've never played the post game to Fire Red and Leaf Green. Never. I've had these games since at least I was 13. My dad bought me these games on one of our visitation visits, and I've never played the post game. I would beat the Elite Four, didn't really care what to do after that, and then I'd start over. So, as part of the live streaming for the research portion, I also want to play some of the older Pokemon games that I really enjoyed, and I thought it'd be fun to play something that I've played for years, but then play an area of the game that I've never experienced, and I thought that would be really fun. So, but the problem was, in order to do the setup on the computer to stream the game, number one, it's a Pokemon game that came out in 2004, I think? 2004, 2005. On a console that came out in 2001, I think. And before live streaming was really a thing, and I have to, number one, get the GBA on my screen to get through the capture card. So I have an elaborate setup. I have the Game Boy player on the GameCube, no problem. But my GameCube would sometimes just not read the disc. I noticed the ejection button was sticky. There was one point where I took a can of compressed air, sprayed it in, and it worked for the whole day. And then the next day, same problem, sprayed it again. Okay, moved on. So I was like, all right, clearly it's just dirty. I figured out that it's dirty, no problem. I'm going to take it to a local shop. And I'm going to say the name of the shop, because it is here in town. And the reason why is because I need people to know the experience that I had. And I'm going to preface this with I don't have a problem with any of the employees. This has just been a crazy situation that never should have happened and never should have gotten to the point where it's at. I'm just going to take my story, and you can take it from a grain of salt. Because it just finally wrapped up a couple days ago. So I take it in, and I texted the boss for a quote. He does everything through Instagram. They fixed my original Xbox, and they did an amazing job. My personal problem has always been the pricing of their stuff. It is a retro game console store. They do sell some collectibles. They sell Pokemon cards. They have I think a separate vendor that comes in, and I've found him teaching people how to play. It's a very nice crew of people. But I've always felt that some of their stuff was just a little overpriced. Part of that is because I know that he's buying his stock from conventions and eBay. And so when people are already selling something at a collector's price, and then you have to then take that and then turn that around and resell it, and you have to make more than what you paid for it, everything kind of gets boosted little by little by little. So, but The discs are clean. They're damn near perfect condition. I have a game here. Give me 1 second. I had recently bought Pokemon Coliseum, and I'll show you with this one. Nope, not that one. It's damn near immaculate. It's good quality stuff. Now, I go in and I've already been quoted. He says, okay, it's going to cost $50 to do this cleaning. I said, okay. And so I then took the GameCube in right before work. I had work. I think they opened at, I think he said, I don't remember, but I know I was pressed for time because I had to get to work and they were on the way. So I take it, I drop it off, and I explain to him. I'm like, yeah, I just need to get it cleaned. It's not reading my games. And that was my mistake. I should have just said, I'm here for cleaning. Please clean the GameCube. I should not have explained why I brought that in. I think that is exactly where I screwed up from the get-go. So then he explains to me, he's like, well, how about this? Let me charge you the $75 fix-it fee, and I'll start with the cleaning. If that fixes it, no problem. I'll refund you the $25. If it doesn't, I'll go ahead and fix it since I'll have it open and in pieces anyway. And I'm like, okay, cool. That sounds good. I'm okay with that. Now, understand that on Facebook Marketplace and eBay, you can find somebody like selling it on their own for $60 usually for the GameCube. But you're rolling the dice because it's like, why are they selling the GameCube? Are they lying to you? You don't know. So for me, that $75 ensured certainty because I knew that GameCube would be working at the end of the day by the end of this whole process. So a week goes by, and actually, let me make sure my timeline I had it all typed out at one point because yeah, and so July 20th established the $50 cleaning. It would be done by the following Saturday, which would have been July 26th. I was promised that on July 21st. And I said, okay. So on the 26th... No. I dropped it off on the 24th. So I dropped off the GameCube. I explained to him why I was getting the cleaning. Yeah, so I was told before I dropped it off, it'd be done by July 26th. So I go in on July 26th. Went in for an update. And then that's when they told me, hey, I needed a new part. So this is part of where it's like I was kind of frustrated. I was like, oh, so it needs a new part. Yeah, they're like, yeah, so we'll send you a quote. And I'm like, okay, why are you sending me a quote? You said you would fix it for the $75 that you've already charged me. So now I understand in most cases, yes, you would have to buy the part. If this was any other situation, that's fine. However, I feel like in this situation, it happens often enough that should have been told to me from the beginning, like, hey, there's a chance that it may be a part, and it may not just be that it's dirty, right? It may not be something that needs to get realigned or cleaned up. It might just be something that we have to replace an entire piece. If that is the case, that is going to get put onto you. You will have to buy the part. Had that been explained to me from the beginning, I would have said, no, just do the cleaning. If it doesn't work, all right, I'm out $50. That's fine. But now, you want to charge me even more money, and I'm already low on money to begin with. I just wanted something to be able to play Pokemon for the weekend on my TV so I could stream it to my friend, because I had a friend who likes to watch me play video games, and that's how we spend our time sometimes. And so for me, I'm frustrated because I'm like, hey, you didn't tell me that from the beginning. You didn't say that would have been a possibility. And I feel like as a company who offers this service, you would know more than enough that this would happen. I should have been able to come to that conclusion just fine on my own, but that wasn't where my brain was at the moment. So he told me to cost anywhere between $50 to $100, and I'm like, at that point, you know, I even talked to them. I'm like, how much is your refurbished GameCube? And they're like $200. And I'm like, okay, cool. So so either there's a chance that I could spend another $50, spend at least $120, or I just go up to the $200 because on the expensive end of the spectrum, this could total to $190. So I may as well just go get the $200 GameCube, right? Like, why am I? So for my brain and justifying money is like, I cannot justify this repair if it's going to cost the same as buying a brand new outright thing that replaces the whole system when I'm only replacing one aspect of it. And so that was, whether in the repair community that's right or wrong, that's just my personal philosophy. I don't think that a repair should cost as much as or more than replacing the whole unit. And so it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't equate. So I can't justify it. So you say, hey, not a problem. Let us find the part. Let us quote you and get you a final number first, and then you can decide whether you want to decline the service or not. I said, okay, you know what? That works with me. You're giving me wiggle room and time to really digest the information and get the correct information. And this is with the tech, by the way. So that all the conversations in person have happened with the tech. Everything with the boss has happened over the phone or text. So that was July 26th. August 1st, I hadn't heard anything. And they told me that they would get a hold of me and let me know. And the boss would send me a quote. So I reached out and I said, sorry, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong quote here. So I reached out to the boss. I was like, hey, I don't have a quote yet. Can you tell me what's going on? And he said, sorry, I was not aware. We'll have an estimate later tonight or tomorrow morning. 3 days later, he finally reached out, or I reached out again. Sorry. I reached out, and then he told me it was going to be a $79.90 plus tax. And I'm like, nope, I'm good. I'm like, I sat there, I looked at it, I thought about it. I was eyeballing another GameCube on eBay from a seller that is, and actually, I'll shout him out because I bought it. I did buy it, and actually, it's very nice. I love it to death. Because at that point, I think we were about 3 weeks in. I was like, I'm 3 weeks in. I don't have a GameCube. I really want to play this game. I'm working on film for 2 hours and then I'm working my butt off at, my day job and the weekend job. It's like, I really, really, really am fixated on playing this GameCube. I really want this thing. And so I went on eBay, and it was on my watch list for a long time. I was like, and that's what I was prepared. I was literally prepared to like, oh, well, if my GameCube doesn't work, okay, I'll just order the new one. And I'll just, I'll buy it without the cables because all my cables were just fine. I know it's the console. And I'll just repair the GameCube on my own on my BTS channel in my free time. That was my whole plan. And so if I go to, it is from a company called Retro Games Japan. They're based in the United States. They've been a seller, I want to say, since 2002. So, like, if I go to the store page, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put their link in the description so that way you guys can check out their store. But they have custom cases. And so they had a nice green one for $130. Granted, base console, no cables. But for me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, okay, at $79, I just paid $75, right? So even if we're round down 70 plus 70, $140. Plus another $14, so that would have been, about $150. I'm like, I'm saving $20. I would have just saved $20 outright had I just replaced the whole console with GameCube. And at that point, I was like, that's kind of where my brain went. I was like, all right, you know what? It's too expensive. Said that I could decline the service after the quote, not a huge deal, so I should be able to say, hey, and that's what I told him. I say, hey, that's fine, but I don't really want to, and verbatim, I said, hey, I'm sorry for the hassle, but I think I'm just going to wait on. I already spent $75 to get it fixed, and I'm not ready to spend another almost $80 just to have it fixed. Is there any way I can get the service fee refunded since the GameCube didn't get fixed? Because I felt like that was reasonable, right? You said you were going to fix it for the $75, and then you didn't fix it. So, yeah, I'd like my $75 back, or at least the $25, because you didn't fix it. Right? You only cleaned it, which is the thing that I wanted you to do from the beginning. And then you upsold me the $75. And then now you're like, well, the $75. So, the following 30 minutes, I'm at my day job. He's texting me. He's like, are you free to talk? I said, no, I'm at work. I am off at 4. If you can please get it ready for me to pick it up by 4:30, that would be great. He says, cool, we'll just have the conversation over text. And I'm like, not at all what I just said. And then he proceeded to educate me on why the price is that way. And I explained to him, I'm like, hey, it's not that I don't agree with your pricing or the reasoning behind your pricing. My problem is at the end of the day, I'm out X amount of money. I don't have all that much money. And I already shouldn't be buying this GameCube. This is an impulse purchase because I want to feel better because I feel like garbage right now. And I want to be able to play a video game that I enjoyed as a kid to rekindle that spark of hope and get back to work. But I can't do that because you have my GameCube. You've already taken 2 weeks. You won't contact me when there's a change. So I'm like, yeah, I just want my stuff back. And so he says, okay. And then we get into this bout again because he calls me while I'm at home. And he's like, so about that GameCube. And I'm like, yes. So you're going to get a hold of me when it was done being put back together because it was in pieces, which is why I couldn't pick it up that day. Is it ready for pickup? He's like, well, we really want to get you this part, and help you out. And I'm like, that's fantastic. But again, I want my stuff back. I don't care if it works at this point. Like, we're beyond I want your service and I want to talk to you. Frankly, I don't want to ever come back into your store because you just won't give me my stuff back. You're arguing with me. This has been, like, by the time I got my GameCube back, understand it was 5.5 weeks. Why on earth should I ever come back to do any kind of business with you? Because you're holding my crap hostage and you're just not giving it back to me. That's how it views from my perspective. Right? And I already had put this, and after that phone call, I put the whole story on Reddit in the one of the repair chats. I said, hey, I don't repair consoles. I do have a certificate in information technology and all of that. And I already don't like it when people talk down to me like I don't know anything. Like, I am an electronics tech consultant. Hi, Ace, how are you? I am an electronics tech consultant, and so it's like, that is what I do. I sell electronics, and I do have to explain it to some people. Hi, Mia. So it's like, I know how electronics work. So when you're trying to educate me on why or how a GameCube works, also understand, I've already watched YouTube tutorials on the GameCube. I just don't have a dust-free environment or my specifications to fix the GameCube myself. On top of I don't have the time. And I know that you guys have quality because your team does a really good job. But how you've treated me by withholding my property, you just woke up, how are you? I'm good. Telling the story of the GameCube and the whole monstrous thing with that. So, since you guys kind of just hopped in here, and I'm already halfway through the story, so for people who are rewatching this, short burst of what happened. I was told, hey, $50 for a cleaning, because that's what I wanted. Then he was like, I get over there, the tech, who was not the boss who I talked to before that, was like, $75 to fix, but if the cleaning just fixes it, I'll refund you the $25, no problem. Well, that didn't happen. Nobody got a hold of me. I got back. Hey, it needs a new part. You're paying for it. Cool. Why did you not tell me that might have been a situation that we would run into from the beginning? Because then I would have told you, no, I'm not going to pay the $75 because now I'm paying $75 for you to fix it and an extra $79 to replace the part. That's $150. That's over $150. And then you're gonna sit here and tell me that, oh well, repairing it is like a refurbished thing. Anyway, so then you're gonna try to educate me on why the prices are, which wasn't the problem. My problem wasn't the reasoning why your prices were high. My problem was the prices are just high. I don't have that kind of money right now. So understand that the last 2 games I bought, I impulsed with the credit card, putting me in further debt because I just want to. It's a collector's item, and I don't know when that's going to show up again in front of me, especially with the good quality, because, again, I know you guys provide good quality product. However, how you've treated me over the last 5 weeks makes me never, ever, ever want to walk in your store again. So he calls me, and then he's like, okay, well, we'll pay for the part. And I said, okay, and we're gonna get you that part, and we're gonna fix it up for you, because we see you're a returning customer. You also made a really big purchase with us recently, so we're gonna help you out. And I said, okay, for clarification, does that mean you were not charging me any extra, and you were ordering the part and hooking it up, and I'm only paying the $75 that I've already paid? You're not charging me any extra. And he says, like I said, we're gonna help you out. And I'm like, that is not a yes or no answer to my yes or no question. I'm like, okay, so I give it a week, and I'm already prepared to walk into the police station to find somebody and go, hey, this is the situation I'm in. I don't know what the legalities are here, because I also think this is stupid. This is a game console from 2001. Yes, this is about the GameCube. This is a game console from 2001 that I just wanted to get fixed. No argument about how the employees are. The employees are great. The tech is great. But I can't get the boss to give me a straight answer, communicate with me, or, he's educating me as if I don't know anything. And it's like, I have to remind, like, first and foremost, most gamers know what they're talking about and know that, hey, either I don't necessarily fix the parts, but I know enough about this console that I've owned for over 2 decades to know this is probably the problem. I'm going to go bring it in to somebody who, and again, if they're the ones that mess up, guess what? They're the ones who get to fix it, right? But if I mess it up, I have to fix it. And that's what we're trying to dodge here. So I don't want to break it any further, because it's just going to cost me more money. But clearly taking it into repair service is going to cost me even more money, so I'm probably never going to do that again. So he says, okay, it'll be done by the end of the following week. I go in, hey, how, where are we at? He's like, oh, my boss is still sourcing the part. And I looked at his tech, and I'm like, how does that make sense? Because this is the phone call I had with him. So then I'm explaining to the tech what my phone call was the week before this. And I'm like, hey, your boss told me he found the part. He sent me the screenshots of the part, where he was getting from, and how much it was going to cost me. How is he still looking for the part if he sent me this? He said it was supposed to be done by today. So he's like, well, let me call my boss. Well, then the boss, as soon as I step out of the store, the boss texts me on my cell phone and goes, hey, the part will be in Wednesday. It'll be ready for you next Thursday. And I'm like, okay. Whatever, there's nothing I can do. But I did get out of the tech because I told him the question that I asked him. I said, hey, does this mean I'm not getting charged extra? Yes or no? And, the lack of yes or no from the yes or no question. And he's like, yes, from what my boss has told me, you were not buying the part. We are paying for it. We were setting you up because of all the miscommunication from the beginning. And I said, great. I'll extend my patience. But I was very prepared to do the thing that I was going to do. So following Thursday comes around, I go in, he's hooking up a new display case, and I'm like, hey, so what's the update on the GameCube? And he's like, my boss hasn't even given me the part. And I'm like, dude. And then at that point I was like, he's apologizing to me. He's like, look, I'm so sorry. And I told him, like, look, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at the new girl that's sitting right next to you. Like, I owe one of your other employees a Pokemon battle from selling me Pokemon Coliseum because he wanted to get it for his birthday. I just beat him to the punch. But, like, and we traded Instagrams, and I totally, fully believe in battling him and doing that. My problem is that we're 4.5 weeks in. The boss isn't communicating to you whatsoever. And granted, I don't know what's going outside of this, but I'm also getting plenty of people who also have a fix-it business or repair business for game consoles in my Reddit telling me, this is really shady. Why is he doing it like this? He should be calling you as soon as something is found out. Why are they not communicating with you at all? It sounds super sketchy. And I'm like, okay, cool. I'm verified that this is ridiculous. So I then walk into Hobby Lobby. I make a phone call to the front desk at the local police station. I'm like, hey, and I left a message. And I said, hey, this is my name. Here's my number. This is the situation that I'm in. I don't know what my rights are in this case. I don't know what we can do, but I don't know if I should report this as a theft because they've had it for so long. They're taking their sweet time, and it's almost like, you know, several people thought like maybe they broke something and they're just trying to shove it onto me, but I'm like, I don't think that was the case. I think it's just literally like mismanagement of the situation from beginning to end. So 2 days ago, I think it, or not, yeah, was it 2 days ago? Because it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before. I got off at about 10:30 in the morning. I got my video work done. I had no plans for the rest of the day. I was like, ooh, I'm gonna have some fun treats to relax. And, hour later, I get a text saying, hey, your GameCube is done and ready for pickup. And I'm like, oh, finally. So I grabbed my cousin, because I don't have the mental capacity to drive. And go in. And I'm like, all right, what's it look like? And it comes out super clean, super awesome. I'm super stoked. I'm like, all right, you guys have definitely cleaned it. Let's take a look at the disc lens. And so I open it up, and the game inside. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness. Now, these aren't in sleeves. I just recently took them out of the sleeves, and I'm like, I didn't open these since I bought them. I bought them 2 months ago. I have not opened them. I have not inserted them into a GameCube because I've never played these games. I've always wanted to. I've heard of their high praises. I would like to live stream those blind. I'd like all of my reactions to be true to what's coming. So I know they're good quality because I know where I got them. I got them from those guys. They very much clean up the discs. They test play them. This comes with the original poster that it came with. So it's like they try really hard to sell you the game as if it was brand new. It's almost like a time capsule. I admire that. Still, again, expensive, but because they do that, it becomes more expensive. But I know I'm getting the game, and it is really nice because I do like the box art and I like having it on my shelf. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, is this your guys' copy? Because I didn't leave my copy in the GameCube. And they're like, oh no, you left it in there. And I'm like, no. And again, I am not mentally there all the way. And I look at my cousin, and him as my witness, verified what he said when we got home, because I'm like, and I remember complaining in the car. I'm like, why is this game in there? This is a $300 game. How, in the 5 weeks that they had it, not communicated to me that I left it in there? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know I'm a creature of habit, and I know when I do certain things. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's certain things where I'm like, I know if I were to take my console in for fear of losing the game, I do not leave a game in my console if I take it into repair. That's hardwired in my body. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, no, this has to be wrong. So anyway, we get there, we get home, I unplug my new GameCube, I plug in the old one, turn it on, test it, allow the title screen to come on. I'm like, okay, cool, it's playing, so the disc, so I know it's fixed. I look at my cousin, I'm like, let me go put it into the game case. And Ace was on the call when this happened. I was like, let me go put it in the case so that way we don't lose it. Well, I open up my case, and there's my copy of XD Gale of Darkness inside. So now I'm sitting here like, I have a second copy of Gale of Darkness. Why? And so this is kind of like where it's like I talked to a few people about this because I'm like, A, that's a $300 game. Yeah, so now I have two. So I have this one, and I have this one. I'd also like to point out that when we look at the disc, because my grandfather looked at it. Look at the two. You'll note it. Hey, sir, over here. What are you looking at? Just trying to look at it. How dare you? My face is right here. My eyes are right here. Not down there. Not down here. Focus. Anyway. Let me get the camera to rest. Not rested. What? So if you look at this disc, let me look at this disc. In the top right, you'll see that this one has a little bit of silver. The label is a little worn. Don't worry about the Dr. Pepper addiction, all right? Don't worry about it. That's my problem. Point is, so this, now one part of their business I do know is that the store Gamer Life has a website where, or there's a website or app that they're a part of, and I don't remember what it's called, but they will bid out the games that aren't up to their level of quality that they put in their storefront, that they put in the case of the box art and stuff. So usually these are cheaper. This would have been one of those games. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, why would you tell me that this was, I left it in the console? And so that's the part where they probably gave you a copy for free for all the trouble and just played it like you left the game in so they trouble. And so that's kind of the conclusion I came to is that like, I'm kind of like, in this moral dilemma of like, what do I do? Because on one hand, I'm like, it's one of those things like I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm put in the position where I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is in terms of like when I get mad at politicians, right? Like, oh, we're gonna, instead of standing up for what's right, we're gonna give you all this money to shut up about this thing and let us do this and don't get in our way. And I feel like that's kind of like what happened here was that like, hey, here's a free game that normally would cost, in this kind of condition, probably $190. And we're going to give it, we're going to play it off like, haha, we're not going to tell you what it is. We're just going to hope that you accept this gift and don't talk crap about our business. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, no, I'm going to give my honest opinion. Like, this is, I don't, like, this, I feel like is, like, I don't know, like, so there's like a couple of ways that I thought of, like, this could have played out. This could have been like a way of his employees looking at the boss going, listen, we should do this because in all accounts, he didn't yell at us, he didn't disrespect us, he didn't threaten us, he didn't treat us like garbage. Maybe he gave you a little bit of attitude on the phone, but can you blame him? This is where we went here. In all accounts, this should not have happened or escalated the way that it did. Now, the other part is that, like, maybe on one hand, it's the other end of the spectrum. Be like, hey, we know we really screwed up. We don't want you to tarnish our reputation. Please keep your mouth shut. And that could have been it. I don't know. And so that's kind of where I'm, like, in the moral dilemma of, like, so far, all of my friends are like, don't take it back. They gave it to you. They gave it to you when they said, oh, you left this in your console. You forgot that it was in there. So they know for a fact that I have this, right? At some level, that company knows, that business knows, this is mine. They gave it. They have said that it is mine. In whether it was through a shady way, not direct, which I wish it was direct, but here we are. But now I have 2 copies of the game where I'm like, okay, well now what do I do? And so I think what I'm gonna do is my cousin Dominic has a GameCube, and I've been trying to get a hold of him since this has been in my hand to tell him that I'm gonna give this to him, but he's not answering his phone. So it's like, part of me is like, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna take it with me and not tell you. Sorry. Ad friendly sponsors. Oh well, it's a bad word. Move on. The point is, I think I'm gonna give it to him. He has played it before. He's enjoyed this game. He is the one who's pushed me to play this probably the most, I would argue. And so I think I'm just gonna take my second copy that I have, give it to him, let him play it. No big deal. But I'm gonna be honest about the experience that I had. Like, this is how I felt about it. I do feel like I was kind of being like thrown around a lot. Even though they agreed to give me my property
back to me twice. They ended up not, and even though it worked out in the end, they did fix it. They did buy the part. They did put it together, and they gave it back to me. No more hassle after that, and a free game. I do still feel around. I got jerked around a lot. Put $1 in a spray jar. No, if I was doing that, I would be a broke man. I'd be more broke than I currently am. So I'll say, like, it could have gone in one of two ways. Either A, he tried to pull some shady stuff on me and it didn't work because I have like a second sense of that kind of thing. I don't like that whole situation. I especially didn't like the comparing it to a doctor's visit or a car mechanic. I'm like, at the end of the day, you were not either one of those two things. And from the other people that I've talked to, they're like, yeah, this should have been a 3-hour fix. To be completely honest, from what they were saying is that it could have been a 3-hour fix minus the time for the part to come in. But at the end of the day, this is how the business should operate. I even talked to my buddy, William, who wants to do his own repair service at some point. He's talked about it for the last couple of years. And so when I told him, I'm like, hey, this is an experience I'm going to tell you about because I want you to learn from this because I do not like the situation I'm in. And we both came to the same conclusion that if YouTube doesn't work, I've thought about having a hobby shop. Like, I really like that idea. I have all this retail experience under my belt. It allows me to be surrounded by my hobbies. I can have fun. I can talk to the guests as long as I want because I'm the boss and I can do whatever I want at that point. One of the things that I talked about, I'm like, well, if we're gonna sell old video games, we have to repair those, we have to refurbish those. But we should, if we're gonna be doing that anyway, we should offer that repair service. How do we go about that? And we both came to the conclusion that if we were to do it, if we were to raise our prices just a little bit, we would do that and put money away from the profits that go, this is the parts budget. This is so that way when anybody comes in and they need a new part, it doesn't matter. We said we were going to fix it, we're going to fix it. And that is moral over finances kind of the decision where it's like, hey, we're going to have money set aside to buy the part. So the moment you come in with whatever console, we won't have parts on hand, but we'll at least have the money to go get that part for you. So that way you don't have to, that doesn't get shoved onto the individual so much. It kind of gets spread about. So it's like, yeah, our video games, we'll take a percentage of the profits from that and put it towards the parts and then go from there. What those final numbers look like, I don't know. We're not there. But at least we have an idea of, hey, this is the lens we choose to look at that going forward. So hopefully William does that. I talked to him about maybe making like a social media channel on YouTube where he talks about fixing consoles and stuff and having people send him consoles that he could then make videos about and da-da-da-da-da. But it's up to him where he wants to take that. But yeah, and that's kind of like the whole story with the GameCube is that at the end of the day, I have a second copy of XD Gale of Darkness. I now have my nice custom green GameCube. I'll go buy the more cables now that the other one is fixed and set it up in the living room so that way when my friends come over, we can play Mario Kart, we can play Mario Party. I can finally have that battle with one of the Gamer Life's employees that I owe him, and then life can be good. But yeah, that was the whole thing with the GameCube. It was just like, yeah, ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. Now I know I have a Monster Edition, but I mean, Monster. I meant to say Dr. Pepper. But yeah, I'm surprised you're not in the call. You have a special hey, follow me. Don't mind me. So I went and redid my server. Have a special chat for friends and then for people who have helped me on. As of these live streams, the people who are on the live stream, when they do want to hop in the call, they've actually worked on capacity, whether helping me put the costume together, it's an actual video shoot, or in Mia's case, editing probably, I want to say maybe 30 to 40% of the content on my YouTube channel, on my gaming channel. For a long time, Mia went and edited the gaming channel while I focused on film, and she was doing that while doing her YouTube channel at the same time. So huge trooper in that regard. Pretty freaking awesome. Now I'm back to doing it by myself, which is why everything's so slow. But that's, I mean, hey, can you blame me? That's 2 jobs volunteering on top of that, which I'm going to be at a cosplay thing in September. I had a call me up and ask me if I could have a booth there to talk about 3D printing, because my little sister showed her pictures of my Mandalorian, my clone trooper, the costumes that I wear and make, and so she's like, oh my gosh, can he come in and talk to people? Because the whole event is about getting people into cosplay, and so I'm super stoked. I'm gonna be seeing an old teacher of mine from high school, which is a lot of fun. I started trying to build a Mando when I was like 15. It didn't work out. Here we are 10 years later, finally finished a Mando. Sent him a picture of it to invite him to the thing, and I'm like, hey, I got it done finally. And he's like, took you long enough. So that'll be fun. I know he'll bully me when I get there, but that's how you know that he likes it. Any questions about the YouTube stuff or life in general? Anything going on? Oh, your bit rate is da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, alright, well, tell me that. But yeah, this week I'm definitely gonna try to, like, while I'm waiting for elements to render, I'll take my laptop into the cooler parts of the house because it's already hot in here. Ridiculous. I've misplaced my watch battery because every time I have to replace the battery to this, I have to buy a 2-pack of batteries, but I always end up losing the other battery because I don't have another device. But my thermometer, which is that tells me the temperature of the room, the battery's dead. But I've misplaced the other CR3032 battery, and I can't tell you exactly how hot it is. But I'll take my laptop into the house, probably just my bedroom. I just sit there and start typing the script for the essay and get that paper. Figure out how I could just produce more content. Like, that's kind of like the thing is that, like, I honestly debated about quitting my job and just full diving into this, because I don't have a problem working 8 hours a day. So it's like, if I can put 8 hours a day into YouTube and film and produce that content, I could easily go, okay, well, for the first half of the day, I'm going to do visual effects. I'm going to do 1 hour of the rotoscoping. The next hour, either doing animation, rendering, modeling, set design for the digital environments. And then at the end of that 4 hours, cool, I'm going to go take an hour lunch, hour break, go walk the dog or friggin' hang out with grandma, do whatever. And then the next 4 hours is like, hey, you know what? Let's go work on the next project for those. And that may be, hey, you know what? I need the B-roll for my video essay. Let's go play one of those video games for at least 2 hours and stream it. And then I'll spend the next 2 hours taking that stream, turning it into YouTube short. And then, yeah, that first week is going to be a little bit rough in content because it's like, well, I got to do the stuff. But eventually, it's like, yeah, every day I'm going to have a short on the gaming channel. And as long as, and there'll be days where like, yeah, I'm not going to do shorts today. I'm going to go do this thing over here until whatever. But at least like the first half of my day, I'm working on a film. And then the second half of the day, I'm working on whatever the next project is. So that's kind of where I'm like, okay, I could totally do this. So it's a whole, it could. I think the only thing stopping me is that there's no guarantee that the risk will come through.
right? So it's like, okay, yeah, I could be doing YouTube stuff full time, but I don't have any money put away. And there's things that I want to do coming up, like in 2027. Grandma really wants to go to Star Wars Celebration. I've gone twice. I've gone to the 2022 Celebration, 20th for Attack of the Clones, the 2025 this last year for the 20th for Revenge of the Sith in Japan. And Grandma sees how much fun I'm having, and once that I showed her a Jedi character that looks damn near exactly like my grandmother, she's like, I want to do that one. And I'm like, okay. She wants to be Jocasta Nu, the librarian from Attack of the Clones. So
it looks like my Obi-Wan for that trip is going to be the Attack of the Clones Obi-Wan. So no haircut anytime soon. But
it's like, okay, can I make YouTube work before then and get the money saved up for that? But then at the same time, it's like, I don't know what the laws are, or for, like, let's say my van, for example. I bought my dream car, and I'm currently working on it. I want to turn it into the Mystery Machine from the live-action Scooby-Doo movies. And the problem I have is that what happens if I miss a payment? What is the consequences to those actions? How many payments can I miss before they take it away and say, hey, you're not paying it, and it's not technically yours yet because you haven't paid it off, so we're not going to take it away, even though I've already put a bunch of money into it to own it. So, like, arguably, I own a percentage of it. So I'm like, well, what do we do here? So that's a question I have. On top of, like, well, if I leave my day job, I lose my health insurance because I pay into that with that job. So I lose my dental, which is very important. That's part of the problem right now is that it does pay partially, right? So for preventive care, the insurance covers it. But, like, I know I have cavities. I need to go get those cavities, but I have to pay for that. I haven't been able to put any money away to do that because I'm just not getting the hours and the expenses of everything else. So it's like, okay, well, how do we...
At what point will I have made the money to not suffer the consequences of the risk? But that's what a risk is, like, and that's kind of the other part of it. Is on one hand, one creature on my shoulder telling me, "Hey, high risk means high reward," but the other angel is telling me, "Yeah, but high risk also means higher consequences." And so that's kind of where I'm like, okay, really trying to weigh out what I want to do here because devil is telling me, or I should say, I shouldn't say the devil. That's not true. If I do have it, and this is something I need to go talk to a doctor about, but what I feel like is the ADHD is telling me, hey, your impulse is quit. Dive into this. Go do this. This is what you've been wanting to do since you were 13. You may as well just do it now. Screw what the rest of the world thinks. But the other part, the reasonable part of the autism and the structure is like, hold on though, there isn't any structure over here. You have to discipline yourself. That's a hard thing for you to do in order to make this work. At the same time, you have to take into account all of these things. Like, you have things you have to pay for. There are things you have to pay off. If you don't have an income, you can't pay those off, and we don't really know what the consequences of that is unknown, right? Is it just a notice in the mail until you do it, and then you get dragged into court maybe 7 years later? There are people who get away with far more, and law enforcement and the government know about it, and they don't do anything about it, so are they going to do it to you? How bad is your luck? So that's kind of like, that's where my brain is. That's kind of where it's just like, I don't know what to do. Because it's like, on the other hand, it's like, if it works out, I make $1 million, I can go do the things that I want to do, and I never have to rely on the rest of society again and just my own personal art. Fantastic! Let's do that. But I can't guarantee that that's going to work. So I don't know. It's a hard thing, but that's my goal this week, is to figure that out, is what would be the plan, because I am getting restless. I'm at the verge of burnout. I see it coming. I've gone through a really bad burnout twice, and now I know the warning signs, and I can see it. I see it on the horizon. I see myself inching closer to that, and I'm putting maybe the timeline, it looks like October, honestly. I think October is when where I'm going to lose it. Maybe sooner, because, yeah, I almost blew up on my manager on Saturday, and I go back to work on Tuesday, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a call into the HR office about, like, hey, we need to have a talk about how you're talking to people and, you know, some of the things that you've been talking about. And I'm going to be like, what, the job? The lack of pay? My main concern, and I will tell HR this, and I've already told HR, it's like, I've agreed to coming at 4:30 in the morning, which you haven't scheduled me, and you strong-armed me into doing it, and gave me all of these reasons why you can't give me your routine, even though that's what my doctor has asked you to do. But also, if you raise the starting pay again to higher than what I make, and I am making the same as the person who showed up 5 minutes ago compared to me who's been here for over 4 years now, give me one reason I shouldn't quit on the spot. Give me one reason why I shouldn't lose let my anger loose and just yell at you for a long time. Like, give me a reason why I should even stay here, because clearly my loyalty isn't getting me anywhere. I rarely call out. I rarely call in. I only use my sick hours when I actually feel sick, whether that be mental or physical. Like, and again, I don't do that very often. If I leave early, it is only for an emergency. It's like, I don't understand why I'm being treated the way I'm doing, and especially when I'm noticing a lot of the managers that are being being promoted, have not been there for as long as I have, so I feel a little undercut on top of that. But B, I've noticed, these are people that are yes people. These are people who don't say no. These are people who don't call you out when you're wrong. They're not people who remind you what the policies and what the rules are and set boundaries. These are people that just you can walk over it. With that realization, I feel like, all right, this is the farthest I'm ever going to go with this company. Why should I stay? Because they're not giving me any leeway. They're not giving me any compromise. They're not letting me have any work-life balance so I can create a better situation for myself, because they'd rather me be the cog in the machine and stay where I'm at. And I don't know if that's on a personal level with the current staff there, or if it's higher than corporate. And that's kind of my concern, is I'm like, okay, am I just left to be a cog in the machine? And at the same time, it's like, this cog in the machine isn't getting paid enough to have an apartment, so why should I care? And it's yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Do I just fully dive into YouTube, or do I still only do it as a hobby until it kicks off? Because I feel like it's not going to kick off unless I give it my full attention. And if I'm working a day job, I can't give it my full attention. I definitely won't quit my weekend job, though. I love my weekend job. That's fun. Bouncing is fun. Like, I have, especially, like, when you have, like, really funny, loud people that come in, people watching is just great. I love it. It's fantastic. Except for the guy who argues to me about Star Wars, because he's wrong. And then I have to correct him. But he won't listen to a word that I say. And then tries telling his girlfriend who's never seen Star Wars how it is. And I'm like, no, that's not how it works. That's not how the Force works. I had to pull the George Lucas card. I'm like, do you know who you're arguing with right now? Anyway. Yep. So, the goals this week. Figure out what I wanted, what risks I'm willing to take, what are the consequences of said risks, and if I'm waiting for something to render, then okay, I need to get into script writing and develop the other ideas, so that way when we're ready to do those ideas, I could just go. Until then, we'll see you guys next week, and pray to whatever God you believe in that we're gonna make this work.